welcome back.
I believe there is an FM station that plays oldies in New Orleans where this song is in the rotation. Is there any human being on planet Earth that wants to hear this song on the radio or this song in general? Wow. Hey, let's put it on the FM rotation. Oh, boy. It's Welcome Back, Kaare and the Sweat Hogs coming your way next with a young John Travolta before he flew jets and owned many planes. Yeah, you right. It is indeed New Orleans, Louisiana. In the Western Hemisphere, planet Earth, Milky Way galaxy. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday afternoon. Kind of cloudy. I guess we got some drizzles in some part of the metro. There might have been a part of the metro that got a deluge or two. Who knows? But at least in my part of the world, the Carrollton section of Uptown, Holly Grove, right by the Sewage and Water Board, right by the parish line, Riverbend area. Just a little bit of a drizzle a few hours ago, and that was about it. Hey, later tonight, I'm going to beeline after work out to the east. Hopefully that traffic will die down. I'm going to go to that Gentilly Baptist Church in between Crowder and Reed. Troy Henry, from I believe about 5 p.m. till 8 p.m., will be presenting his plans for the Six Flags development to the general population, so you can have a chance to give your input, your comments, your suggestions, what you like, what you don't like, that type of stuff. I always think that's a brilliant idea if you're doing some type of development. That's how the projects in New Orleans came down. The folks that were behind that had foresight. First off, the big four and more had to go. But a bunch of white folks coming in there and tearing down projects in New Orleans was not going to fly. So it ended up being lots of white and black folks, including those in the communities, those that lived in the projects, giving their input. And what a difference that has made for Metro New Orleans. My God, living in the past. The projects just became a major cancer for the city. And, you know, some would argue, Corey, all you did is spread the crime all over the city. Just ask folks on the West Bank. But having about 45 residents per acre, not residents, I say residents, residences, 45 different households with multiple folks living in each acre was insane. Now it's about a third of that, about 15 residences, a third in each acre, and mixed use. Some folks are folks that are in a project type environment when it comes to their monthly payments. Little to pay each month or absolutely zero. Some are paying a smaller amount. Some are paying market rate. Definitely more mixed with the socioeconomics, and that's huge because who's around you, what you see around you, who you associate with, that's who you are. If you're around a bunch of folks that don't work, sit around on the stoop all day, and do drugs or drink, I'm not saying you're going to do that, but it's not a big motivating factor when you're around a bunch of folks that maybe work and are trying to get ahead and bust their tail and kids go to school. It just sends out a different message. You are who you associate with. It's pretty simple. I mean, you can take that almost on any level. I'll bring it down to the most basic kind of a, lagniappe gravy luxury type thing, like sports. If you're a baseball player or a football player, or you play tennis or golf or bowl, and you hang out with a bunch of hacks, you're probably not going to improve at that game too much. You play with people that are at least as good as you. Ideally, play the sport with people that are better than you. You are going to improve at that sport, and probably dramatically. Same thing for a living environment. You're around a bunch of folks that are successful, that are go-getters, that are constantly working, that have drive and ambition. You most likely will fall into that as well. You hang around a bunch of folks that are lazy and not motivated, folks with little to no ambition, you'll probably fall into that. Anyway, we'll see what Troy Henry's Six Flags idea is all about. You can too, 5 to 6 o'clock. The Gentilly Baptist Church, which is no longer, or I should say Franklin Avenue Baptist Church. It's no longer on Franklin Avenue. It's on the I-10 service road in between Crowder and Reed, right off of Dwyer and I-10. I'll be there probably around 6:45, maybe 7, something like that. Hope to see you there, especially you folks that live out in the East. Get to give a little input on that. Hey, the 4 o'clock hour this afternoon brought to you by Helm Paint and Decorating. So simple. They've been around 50 plus years in New Orleans, part of the fabric of the city. There's 7 locations on the West Bank, on the East Bank, in New Orleans, in Metairie, on the North Shore, Hammond, Mandeville. They're all over the metro area. 7 locations for your convenience. But, you know, it's 2023. You can go online, pick your Benjamin Moore colors online. Call one of the 7 Helm Paint and Decorating locations near you, and they'll deliver the paint, the quantity you need, the brushes, the rollers, the drop cloths, all the tools and equipment necessary for you to get the job done right. Plus, they're painting experts. Joe Helm, Keith Main, Ronnie Helm, Christy Helm, and the crew at Helm Painting and Decorating, hundreds of employees. They'll steer you in the right direction. Get exactly what you need to do the job right. Because when you got to paint in Metro New Orleans, you do it once, you do it right. Let them steer you in the right direction. Helm Paint and Decorating. That kind of goes in the no-brainer category. Like I said, they've been at it over 50 years, part of the fabric of the city. They know what's going on. Helm Paint and Decorating. Great folks over there. I painted my house, had painters painted about 6-7 months ago. Got everything from the Helm location on Earhart. It was real easy. And I didn't even, they're a client of mine on this program. I hype Helm. I'm like, I'm not going to take time out of their delivery crew to come to me. I just sent my guys to the drive-thru on Earhart. Like I said earlier, I live in that Carrollton, Riverbend, Holly Grove, Pigeon Town, right by the Sewage and Water Board, right by the parish line, by the Lowe's. That across the street is what? The Salvation Army store. That's my hood. So the Earhart location, literally about 3 minutes from my front door. So I sent my guys over there, and they went to the drive-thru, and everything was waiting in boxes. Corey Johnson on them. Everything we needed. Helm Paint and Decorating. 4 o'clock hour brought to you by Helm. A lot coming your way, Tiger fans, in 5 minutes. LSU women's head basketball coach Kim Mulkey's going to join us on the program. Literally, as we speak, enjoying some crawfish with family at her Baton Rouge house. She's given us a good 10 minutes coming up in 5 minutes. Spread the word, Tiger fans. If you love LSU hoops, Lady Hoops, outspoken, hyper competitor, a winner, Kim Mulkey's going to join us. But Baylor was in the top 25 for about 20 plus years. Kim Mulkey leaves, comes to LSU. LSU goes from a women's basketball drought to right in the top 25. Going to the second round of the NCAA tournament in her first year. Second year, Final Four. Top 4 teams in America. Baylor, about a year after her departure, they've fallen out of the women's basketball top 25. That just yells hyper winner, hyper competitor. LSU women's head basketball coach Kim Mulkey just a few minutes away. You don't want to miss that. Boy, a lot to cover up until 6 o'clock, 2 hours on the radio, 2 hours live streaming, 2 hours on YouTube. Right now on YouTube, Corey Johnson Neutral Ground on YouTube. Check us out live. 90 minutes of fun on television. We got a ton to cover. Yeah, I'm a creature of habit. I went to Fausto's today for lunch. Those wonderful red beans and rice. Got a little chicken, paneed chicken with the Italian seasoning and breadcrumbs, real crispy, really good. They opened for dinner in 45 minutes, 5 to 9 tonight. You can check out the Pels on the TV. I don't know, they crank it up at 9. Fausto's Italian Bistro.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here, and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anyway. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool socks. NolaAC.com, your cool socks.
Super discount store in Chalmette.
3235 Paris Road.
The lowest price allowed by Louisiana law on wine, alcohol, and beer.
Worth the drive from anywhere.
If you're throwing a party and need wine, alcohol, and cold beer, super discount store in Chalmette.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, fuller part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday afternoon. Latrum's been with you since J.M. LaPere invented the shrimp peeling machine way back in 1949. That led to the all-plastic modular conveyor belt. Hundreds and hundreds of worldwide patents at Latrum. It truly is a culture of innovation at Latrum. And that growing company, they just continuously grow decade after decade. Because of that growth, they are hiring, looking for you. East Bank, West Bank, they got you covered at their Elmwood facility. North Shore folks, they got you covered at their Hammond facility off I-12. For a full listing of positions available, go to Latrum.com. Latrum spelled L-A-I-T-R-A-M, Latrum.com. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson back at you on a Monday afternoon, a beautiful Monday afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us. Got a good one lined up for you. In just a second, Kim Mulkey's going to join us. LSU ladies basketball head coach. Heading to the Final Four. Unbelievable. Tigers picking up a nice victory. 2 victories. They beat Miami 54-42 to advance to the Final Four and then get by Utah. Get by Utah to get to that Miami game. Pretty incredible run in just year number 2 for Kim Mulkey and the Lady Tigers. The Lady Tigers head basketball coach Kim Mulkey joins us again live on the program. Thanks again for joining us. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing well. I bet you weren't eating any good crawfish at Baylor and at Waco, were you?
No, we eat good Mexican food and barbecue there. But here, as I'm talking to you, I've got a crawfish in my mouth.
I like hearing that. Hey, Coach, I'm having trouble counting this high, and I don't know if you keep track of these types of numbers. I think it's your 15th Final Four, if I'm not mistaken. 4 as a player, 7 as an assistant coach under Leon Barmore, and 3 as a head coach at Baylor. Does that sound right?
I went to 4 Final Fours at Baylor.
Oh.
And so this is my 5th year going as a head coach. So what is that, 16?
That would be it would be 16 plus I got 4 as a player at La Tech, 7 as an assistant under Barmore. Now you're correcting me with 5 as a head coach. That would be 15. So this would be your 16th.
That sounds like I'm very, very old.
No, that's the scary part. You're just in your prime. You're not very, very old. That's what makes those numbers even scarier. If you were 70-something, they'd be 80. They'd still be, incredible. But you're in your prime, Coach. That's what's unbelievable. 16th Final Four for you. Does it feel any different?
No, it doesn't. It feels the same. The only thing that's different is the newness for your players that have never experienced it, and even some coaches that I have that have never experienced it. That makes it fun. That keeps me energized and motivated. And, of course, going back to Texas for this one is special because I spent 21 years of my life in Waco, which is not far from Dallas.
Yep.
So I'll see lots of friends and people I haven't seen since I left.
And not far from North Louisiana either, Ruston and La Tech. So, yeah, right in the middle of both. Hey, Coach, here's some more numbers for you. You're 58-8 since taking over LSU that won 9 games the season before you arrived. Did you ever think that could happen?
I'd call that great scheduling, right? That great non-conference schedule everybody wanted to bash us about. Didn't seem to hurt us. We're building a program, and you've got to start, and you got to be careful not to overschedule. You brought in 9 new pieces, and you got to be smart in how you build something. Did we think it was going to happen this fast? Absolutely not. But the transfer portal jump-started this program.
Yep. Well, Coach, you say that the schedule, maybe obviously you're talking about outside the SEC. South Carolina's number one. They're obviously still alive, the favorite to win it all. Florida's in the NIT women's final right now. So the Southeastern Conference, no way to schedule around that.
Well, the Southeastern Conference had 7 teams selected to the tournament this year. When it got to the Sweet 16, 4 of those 7 were still involved, and that speaks volumes. And I'm sure South Carolina will win tonight. They're the best team in the country, and if they win, 2 of the 4 teams in the Final Four come from the SEC.
Yep, that says it all. Kim Mulkey's with us for a few minutes, taking time away from family and crawfish. Hey, 9 new players this year. How did you get them playing together so cohesively, so quickly?
Well, you got to work. It's not easy. I think people sit and go, wow, ooh, God, they're doing great. Oh, man, it's work. People don't realize how hard it is every day to get 9 new pieces all on the same page at the right time. And we got talent in the transfer portal. We signed our first McDonald's All-American at LSU and Flajay Johnson. And, of course, we signed the number 1 recruiting class coming in next year.
Yep.
But to do it this year with that many transfers, I have to just attribute a lot of that to their buying in and our coaching staff working just extra hard to make sure everybody got on the same page at the right time.
You've admitted that the program's ahead of the curve, and also you've said fans need to kind of lower their expectations a little bit, right?
Well, you know, LSU people can be truly fanatical about their teams, and you love that. That's good. Coaches want that, but sometimes they can be unrealistic. Had we lost the game and not gone to the Final Four, I hope that we would have been shown the same love and excitement that we are today after the win. You have to understand how to build a program. It doesn't happen overnight. There's no blueprint for me to open the page today and go, okay, what do I do next? All you do is go to work. All you do is make these kids understand what it takes to win and grind, and they're excited right now. We're tired right now. We got in at 4 o'clock this morning, sat on the tarmac in the plane for 3 hours to weather pass, had babies crying. We had 7 kids under the age of 4 on that plane.
Uh-oh.
And yet I kept thinking to myself, as tired as we are, as miserable as those kids are, thank goodness we won the game, or we'd really be in a bad mood.
Hey, what's a realistic blueprint or timetable for LSU to be consistently where you are this year in the Final Four, kind of year in, year out type of thing?
I think it's still a work in progress. You know, we're going to lose Alexis Marsh. We're going to lose LaDasia. We're going to lose some very, very productive seniors. But what you're getting to replace them are talented kids, but they don't have that experience. And so you're going to throw them out there next year and let them gain that experience and just grow.
That Sweet 16 game against Utah was tough. What do you tell your team during a game like that that's so tight and so back and forth throughout?
You tell them to stay the course. You tell them to remember what got you here and that they're good, or they wouldn't have been a 2 seed. They're good, or they wouldn't have won the Pac-12. They got the player of the year in the Pac-12. But we're good as well. So just keep grinding it out. And either one of us could have won that game.
Yep.
It's just that we made a few more plays than they did. And they missed a few more free throws than we did.
Yep, and the threes started finally going down for you after not for most of that game. Hey, that pink jacket you wore, does it run on batteries or was it alive?
Well, let me tell you, it's all about the team. I got here, everybody knew I like to dress nice. I always have in my career. But when you come to Louisiana, you know, we do things a little bit different. You like the sparkles. You like the glitzy looking stuff. And there's some LSU women that are stylists. They're very famous designers. And they send me jackets and ask me to wear them. Now, some of them they send, I just say no. But I kind of have grown a little bit and say, hey, whatever it takes to get fans in the stands. But I hope people look at that, but then they watch the product on the floor. I don't want my attire and what I wear to take away from what's being done on that floor, because we have a good product on the floor and some very good players.
Speaking of the floor, that Mississippi State game, record crowd for the PMAC. You've mentioned the PMAC before, an old, outdated facility, no suites, no premium seats. Can the two basketball programs at LSU remain viable into the future with this facility as it is?
Well, I think our administration can answer that best. They will tell you no, and that's why they're working extremely hard right now to raise funds to do a major renovation. I think everything's in place now. The people they've met with on coming up with designs and things you're going to do, and there's a lot of things going on to make it happen. I will love to see the day a shovel's put in that ground, because everybody knows it's an eyesore. It's time to do something. It's been ignored for way too long. But the good part is Scott Woodward and his staff, they know it as well.
Hey, Coach, speaking of, what's up with the different basketball and the change in the Wilson ball for women?
Well, each year when you get to the NCAA playoffs, you get a new court, and you get all these different products that the NCAA has contracts with. So Wilson is the ball. I mean, we play with Wilson ball, but when they get to the playoffs, they produce a new basketball. And the men have the ball, except it's a larger ball, but it's the same type of ball. And I kept listening to the coaches complain about it on the men's side. And then when we started playing, I was like, there's something to this. That ball is mighty bouncy. And I don't know if I can just tell you specifically the difference, but there is something different about this ball. It almost feels to me, when I hold it and dribble it, feels like an outdoor basketball. It's not, certainly. I'm sure it's the best of the best products, but you're watching a lot of poor shooting going on both the men's and the women's side.
Hey, Coach, I'm going to let you get back to family and crawfish. One last question. Ohio State, Virginia Tech. I'm assuming you don't have a preference as to who you guys play on Friday.
I don't, and I couldn't tell you who I thought was going to win, because two different styles. Very familiar with Ohio State, having lost to them in the playoffs last year. They have a great 2-2-1, three-quarter court press. But I also am very familiar with Virginia Tech. In 2000, whatever year it was, we were in the bubble for COVID in San Antonio. They were my first opponent when I was at Baylor. And the big girl, Kitley, was young. Well, she's now older and an All-American. So it's two different contrasting styles. I'm going to enjoy watching that game with my feet propped up, waiting to see who we play next.
Hey, Kim, congratulations. And as always, thanks for joining us on the program again.
You bet. Have a good day.
You too. That's LSU women's head basketball coach Kim Mulkey on the neutral ground.
Hey guys, it's Frank Smith from LasVegasGambling.com with your weekend 5-star lock of the week. Lock of the week. Lock of the week. Take the Lakers and the points over the Clippers. Sell the house, sell the boat, sell your children. Send grandma away and take the money. Put everything you've got on this 5-star selection. It's the Lakers over the Clippers. And we've also got a fantastic 5-star parlay as well. Call us now, 888-555-7777. It's Frank Smith, a.k.a. The Hammer, from LasVegasGambling.com. Do it now, now, now.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
For over 20 years, serving healthy, fresh, authentic Middle Eastern cuisine, Lebanon's Cafe. In the Carrollton section of Uptown on the streetcar line, Wednesday through Monday, 11 a.m. to 9:30. Lebanon's Cafe.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Kanye West was seen shopping at Super Discount Store in Chalmette.
I am Shakespeare in the flesh. Walt Disney, Nike, Google.
Okay, I think Kanye was talking about something else entirely. Super Discount Store on Paris Road in Chalmette.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you on a Monday afternoon. A little cloudy out there, but, warm. In between spring-like and summer-like in New Orleans. Maybe some drizzles in some parts of the metro, but mostly high and dry. Hey, if you just missed the last 15 minutes or so of the program, you missed LSU women's head basketball coach Kim Mulkey joining us. Lady Tigers are in the Final Four. They'll play Ohio State or Virginia Tech this Friday. The winner advances to the NCAA Women's National Championship game. Keep your fingers crossed, Tiger fans. It could be a LSU, South Carolina, all-SEC national title game. Holy smokes. Wow. Got a lot coming your way. You folks out in New Orleans East, the Six Flags site, Troy Henry joined us on the program about a month ago. You can go to YouTube and check out that interview if you like, about 45 minutes with Troy Henry, breaking down what's going on at that Six Flags site like it's nobody's business. You'll get all that info nowhere else. Obviously, when it comes to New Orleans, I'm in my mid-50s, New Orleans native, born and raised here. I didn't get into radio and television and then, hey, how do I do this job? I got into radio and television because I'm curious. I ask a lot of questions. I observe a lot of things. It was sort of a natural for me. So I know a lot about New Orleans East, essentially grew up out there, the Gentilly, Lakeview, Lakefront area. My brother worked at the movie theater at the Plaza in the East. Used to go out there to the busiest McDonald's. They had the first ever Chick-fil-A outside of Georgia back in 1975, a Chick-fil-A in the East. Think about that. Pearlist men's and women's clothing store, Adler's Jewelers, and about 3 or 4 other jewelry stores in the plaza. The ice skating rink. No, New Orleans East was like a new Metairie. Just explosive growth. Tens of thousands of new homes being constructed almost annually. An incredible amount of retail, today you got about 5%, literally. 5% of the retail you once had in the East. I'm not exaggerating that number. I'm being kind. Maybe 5%, not 10%, maybe 5% of the retail you had in New Orleans East, say around 1980, 81, 82, 83. Just explosive growth out in the East. And then a couple of things, the oil bust of 82, 83, coupled with Sherman Copeland and Johnny Jackson, a couple of hack politicians that sold out the residents, sold out the citizens, sold out the East, brought in Section 8 housing, made a lot of money for themselves on the side. The typical Edwin Edwards type mentality, John Ilario, the needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many themselves over us. It's been like that my entire life. Hard to find a good politician like a Buddy Roemer, Arnie Filco. Very hard to find good politicians. And even if you get them, there's no guarantee. Timing, how the other politicians work with them, the citizens embracing it or not. No guarantee that you're going to have success. But when you elect the Edwin Edwards, Alario, Mark Morial types, Bill Jefferson, it is a guarantee of failure. Because the needs of the few, them, outweigh the needs of the many, us. Just ask Alario's kids. One's a riverboat pilot earning about $500,000, $600,000 a year because daddy set up his little boy. And all the legitimate riverboat pilots, and I say that sort of realistically and half jokingly, the ones that actually pilot ships hate John Alario because he never pilots a ship. And when he does, he rams it into the dock and causes $1 million in damage. I'm not making this up. One of Alario's other boys, daddy set him up too. He's been on at least 4 state commissions, earning 6 figures each and every year. One commission, he used commission money to pay a gambling debt. I'm not making this stuff up. Google it. Find out for yourself. I saw a tweet today about Mark Morial, greatest mayor in the city's history. I mean, almost you had to jump out of a second-story window head first. If I was driving, I might have slammed the car into a tree. Maybe the most corrupt mayoral administration in the city's history. Not my opinion. Google it. Go to Yahoo. Look at all the news stories. Hard to find someone in the Morial administration that wasn't indicted or didn't go to jail. Not my opinion. That's a fact. But, you know, folks, because of black or white or Republican or Democrat, embrace this defeatist loser crap. Try to convince themselves because they want to believe it. They hope it's true, not going where the facts lead them. Anyway, the East has been on a steady decline, just sinful. About 80,000 residents in the East. A huge black population, a large Vietnamese population, and just such a lack of political leadership. I mean, think about folks that have run New Orleans East, either insanely ineffective, and that's as good as it gets, and as bad as it gets is folks going to jail out there in the East that were representatives at the state level or local level. No, and you wonder why New Orleans East suffers? There isn't some plot like businesses aren't going to go out there because it's a black neighborhood. There are too many black neighborhoods all around America where businesses go. No, New Orleans East has a painfully short list of actual leaders that care. That's what it all boils down to. Look no further than the Six Flags site. Never marketed nationally. That's why Troy Henry, I talked to Troy Henry about this during the interview. No offense, Troy, but you won the rights to develop Six Flags, and the runner-up was Drew Brees and Demario Davis, a couple of Saints players. I mean, just embarrassing. The winner should have been Cabela's Bass Pro Shop, and the runner-up was Buc-ee's or Flying J Truck Stop or something like that. I'm a friggin' talk radio TV host. And that's me saying that. Where's the leadership in the city that would have gone out proactively and courted these types of folks? Disney company, water park, amusement park. Some folks, something to do with boating, hunting, and fishing. I mean, get creative, get smart. Not even a sign out there available. Just locally pitched. And Troy Henry had acknowledged all that, the dysfunction of the city, and was like, hey, I guess I got lucky because of that. Anyway, New Orleans East folks at the Franklin Avenue Baptist Church, which is on I-10 Service Road at Dwyer, in between Crowder and Reed, tonight from about 5 p.m. till 8 p.m. I won't be able to make it out there till 7. You can go out there right now. They open the doors in about 15 minutes. Troy Henry will be out there. His whole development team will be out there. There'll be renderings on easels and videos and drawings, and you can see all that stuff. Plus, they want your input. They want your input. Essentially, what Troy Henry's doing, you can narrow it down to this. There's a lot of talk about what he was doing, but what it really is, and I think this is a positive, it's Arnie Philco's old idea. He was going to bring in this company, Field of Dreams. They were going to develop a major sports complex out there. So these, high school and younger, middle-aged, elementary school kids, these AAU teams, these families on weekends will bring in the minivan, the SUV packed with kids and equipment and come to New Orleans. Just ask the families with kids in New Orleans that go to Baton Rouge and a Breck facility, or go to Austin, Texas, or outside of Birmingham, Hoover, Alabama, to those facilities. No, build it and they will come. There's an Indiana facility in the middle of nowhere that attracts hundreds of thousands of families and kids each and every year because of the great fields and gyms and basketball courts and soccer fields and baseball diamonds and football fields, the whole 9 yards, for all these AAU sports. A big weekend, big economic impact. Troy Henry's going to build a sports complex out there, complete with hotels, some retail and restaurants for the families. And he joked, and it was a funny joke and accurate. He's like, someone's going to make a lot of money off babysitting because mom and dad are going to want to beeline into the city, go down to the Quarter, go down to the Warehouse District, go to some fine dining restaurant, go check out music at a club, hit a bar room, something like that. Enjoy the nightlife of New Orleans while the kids are at the arcade or the water park, indoor and outdoor, year-round water park. So when the kids aren't playing sports during the day, they'll have something to do at night out there. You can go check that out in New Orleans East tonight. Speaking of New Orleans East, the city lands almost $25 million. I shouldn't say they landed it, mostly floating bonds, $24.6 million to redevelop Lincoln Beach. You remember that announcement? What was it? 18 months ago or so, the redevelopment of Pontchartrain Beach? Not a shovel in the dirt, or should I say in the sand yet. Nothing done at Pontchartrain Beach yet. Nothing. Nothing done at Pontchartrain Beach. Now, that's not New Orleans East, but the Lowe's is not getting redeveloped into a Target. The mayor crashed and burned that idea. Across the street, the lakeside of I-10 and Reed, no Mackey Studios yet. And nothing at Lincoln Beach yet, but hopefully this announcement is a start. Corey Johnson with you. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Rouse's Markets means convenience. Every one of our 65 locations opens at 7 a.m., some at 6:30, and they're open until 10 p.m., with some staying open till 11 or even midnight. Convenience. Rouse's Markets. Tastes like home.
Have a painting project but can't decide on the perfect color? At Helm Paint and Decorating, we offer half-pint paint samples in any Benjamin Moore color for under $5, so you can test potential paint colors before investing in a full gallon.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
If you love Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City, you're going to love Bienvenue in Harahan. The same folks bringing a little of that New Orleans flavor to Hickory Avenue. If you love Katie's, come to Bienvenue on Hickory Avenue in Harahan. Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Which Metro New Orleans area restaurant made CNN's top 50 in America and ThrillList.com's top 25 and has served presidents at the White House for over 40 years? Trey Yen in Mandeville.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal: everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Interlocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Interlocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Interlocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets has daily lunch specials Monday through Friday, and their entire lunch menu is available too. Open 11 a.m. through 2:30 p.m. For the finest in Sicilian and Italian cuisine, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
As New Orleans as a roast beef po' boy.
Crab meat po' boy, duck po' boy.
It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground in Metro New Orleans on 93.9 FM and 107.9 FM.
Po' boy, roast beef po' boy, alligator po' boy.
Not again. 3 kids, 3 adults killed by a female, a 28-year-old former student at a Nashville, Tennessee elementary school earlier today. She was carrying 2 assault-type rifles and a handgun. Luckily, police were nearby and ended up killing this 28-year-old female former student that killed 3 kids and 3 adults at a Tennessee elementary school. Another mass shooting in the United States. A Baton Rouge police helicopter crashes. 2 police officers killed. The back rotor hitting a tree, causing that crash. Sheriff Susan Hutson sadly learning on the job. Boy, we elect some jokers in New Orleans and in Louisiana. No experience at all in law enforcement, basically. The most people that she has managed, 8. So we elect her to run the jail and the sheriff's department. Just mind-blowing. Again, not going with facts, not believing what is, but what we hope to be true, what we want to be true, like children eating ice cream. Hutson reportedly tells 4 higher-ups, resign by today or be fired. One of those includes her former roommate and number 2. Kristen Morales, you remember her? Fired by the Office of Inspector General here in the city of New Orleans for theft. And the Island of Misfit Toys, a.k.a. the Sheriff's Department under Susan Hutson, scoops up Kristen Morales, her friend, her former roommate, quickly. It's like the mother and son duo. The son disbarred. Can't practice law in Louisiana for a year. She hires him as communications director. The mother doing who knows what, made $180,000 a year doing absolutely nothing. Mind-blowing. The former director of the what is the children's jail called? The Juvenile Justice Center. He was about to get fired by LaToya the Destroyer Cantrell. So how bad of a job could this guy be doing? He resigns before he gets fired. And yes, you guessed it, Susan Hutson hired him for a 6-figure job. Now, Hutson tells 4 higher-ups, her former roommate at number 2, Kristen Morales, another assistant sheriff, Perlina Thomas, the chief financial officer at the jail, the sheriff's department, David Trottenberg, and the legal counsel, the lawyer for the sheriff's office, the jail, Graham Bosworth. What a name, Graham Bosworth, huh? Don't have a child, Graham, and name him after you. And let's hope you're not named after your dad, because it'd be Graham Bosworth III. Maybe you can name your next child Bosworth as the first name. It works both ways. Graham Bosworth or Bosworth Graham. Add junior or the 3rd or 4th, and it makes it that much. And no, you're not welcome in our club. We blackballed you. Anyway. Hutson reportedly tells those 4s, resign by today or get fired. Tonight, the 37-37 Pels in Portland, 9 p.m. tip-off. Just 8 games to go. The Pels are the 8th seed in the West. A half game from the 7th, 1 back from the 6th, 1.5 back from the 5th seed, just 2 games back from the 4th seed in the West. It's tight. 8 games to go. Pels, 8th seed at Portland tonight. Trailblazers struggling. They're going nowhere near the playoffs. They're 32-42. Pels favored by double digits on the road. Pels had a nice win against the Clippers. I think they're 4th straight. They're going for 5 straight. They'll need it, because I think after that it's Golden State and then Denver. Ouch. But also it's like 4 or 5 in a row, at least 4 in a row, maybe 5 in a row, but I think for sure 4 in a row at the Smoothie King Center. And that's key. Again, the Pels are the 8th seed. They're in the playoffs right now, or the play-in. 7 versus 10, 8 versus 9. The winners of those 2 games become the 7th and 8th seeds officially, and then the playoffs officially begin in the National Basketball Association. Playoffs in the NBA are pretty cool. The postseason, it's like you can almost ignore the NBA up until like right now. Check out like the final 8 games, like the last 10% of the regular season, literally. Just the last 8 games, the last 10% of the season. And then you have 2 months of playoffs. They start in mid-April where there's snow on the ground up north, and they end in mid-June when it's summertime up north. It's pretty amazing. 2 months of NBA playoffs. Hey, speaking of hoops, if you missed the beginning of this hour, 4:20 for about 10 good minutes, LSU women's head basketball coach Kim Mulkey joined us live on the program, took a little time away from family, and I'd say crawfish, but I'm telling you, towards the end of that 10 minutes, I heard her lips smack, and I think she was eating crawfish while doing our interview, which is fine with me, especially since Kim Mulkey has the LSU women's basketball team in this weekend's Final Four. They're 1 win away from playing in the national championship game. They're 2 wins away from being national champs, but it's also one and done. The opposite. You lose Friday to either Ohio State, Virginia Tech, and you go home. What's that, Blue Boy? You love Kim Mulkey because she's such a competitor and a winner, just like you. You're right, Blue Boy. What else? Folks need to stick around because we have an absolutely full slate on this Monday. What, Blue Boy? 5 o'clock powwow next. Blue Boy, you're right on the money as usual.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers Breitling time, 5 p.m. Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home. From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Young's Dry Cleaning with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Here's New Orleans native son, Corey Johnson.
New Orleans City Councilman Freddie King joins us.
So I want to first say thanks for having me. And believe it or not, man, I used to listen to your show all the time driving home. So it's an honor to be on.
Freddie, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you on the program. Thanks.
The official afternoon talk show of the city of New Orleans. It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground, where New Orleans is heard.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here, and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's families, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring, and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. you've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot.
Coming up next, reruns of Taxi. That's right, we're going back 40 years in time. 2 Taxi episodes back to back. Instead of Corey Johnson and the Neutral Grounds 5 o'clock power hour. Instead... Uh-oh, no Taxi. That's Drew Brees. He knows the score. It is indeed New Orleans. Corey Johnson back at you, and it is indeed the 5 o'clock power hour. Yeah, you're right. Thanks for joining us on radio. Oh, so fine. 93.9 FM. On television till 5:30. 2 big hours on the radio, 4 to 6. 2 big hours live streaming, KareTalks.com. 2 big hours weekday afternoons on YouTube Live. 90 minutes fun. The first 90 minutes of the 2-hour talk radio program simulcast on television statewide. Cox Channel 4 TV in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and beyond. Spectrum Channel 333 television in Slidell, Covington, Mandeville, that's Cheyenne country, Hammond, Houma, Thibodaux, Opelousas, and beyond. Wherever Cox Television is in Louisiana, we're there 4 to 5:30. Wherever Spectrum Charter Television is in Louisiana, we're there 4 to 5:30. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday afternoon. If you missed the 4 o'clock hour, you missed a lot. About 45 minutes ago, around 4:20, LSU women's head basketball coach. The Lady Tigers are heading to the Final Four. Kim Mulkey joined us live on the program last hour, discussing that team and a whole lot more. The Lady Tigers will play Friday against tonight's Ohio State Virginia Tech winner. They win on Friday. They could be playing Southeastern Conference foe South Carolina, the defending national champs, the number 1 team in the land. You think Kim Mulkey's a competitor? I think she is. I think she's a winner. So is Dawn Staley at South Carolina. A fierce competitor and a winner, just like Kim Mulkey. And I say this realistically. I don't think Nick Saban or Bill Belichick are as competitive as Mulkey and Staley. And Mulkey and Staley are much more affable, have a much better personality. I mean, Nick Saban and Bill Belichick, those guys are drips. They better be successful as football coaches, because they don't have much of a life outside of football, to be honest with you. They're not affable. They're not that friendly. They don't seem to be able to discuss anything outside of football and coaching. Very limited, very narrow focus. They better be successful at football, because that's all they do. That's all they are. Kim Mulkey and Dawn Staley are, a little more affable, a little more friendly, a little bit more of a life. Let me put it to this way. I'm stuck on a 6-hour flight to Europe or something. I'd much rather be sitting next to Dawn Staley or Kim Mulkey than Nick Saban or Bill Belichick, for whatever that's worth. Hey, starting right now at the Franklin Avenue Baptist Church, which is no longer on Franklin Avenue off the I-610, that facility was pretty impressive. They had the original church. They built a newer one right next door to it. And that church has a huge congregation, literally thousands in that congregation. They have basically abandoned that facility. I think it's for sale or it's been sold. And they moved to a brand new multi-million-dollar, I think it's like a $42 million church. It is impressive. I've been in the facility. The foyer area, you walk in the first set of doors, and then it's like literally like 60 feet. And then you enter the next set of doors to go inside the church. The foyer area that surrounds the church, bigger than I'd say 90% of churches in Metro New Orleans. The foyer area of the Franklin Avenue Baptist Church, which is now located on the I-10 service road at Dwyer, in between Crowder and Reed, from 5 p.m. about 10 minutes ago, till about 8 p.m. tonight. I'll be there around 7-ish. Troy Henry and his crew will be showcasing their plans for the Six Flags site, I-10 and I-510, a little bit farther out in the east, down the I-10 a few exits. Essentially, a major sports complex for families and their kids, participating in AAU sports to come. Hotels. They want to redo the Eastover Golf Course, which is right next door. Lots of ideas there. Indoor-outdoor water park for when the kids aren't on the basketball courts, the baseball diamonds, the lacrosse, soccer, football fields. They can go to the water park at night. There'll be an arcade. And Troy Henry joined me on the program maybe 6 weeks ago. You can check that out on YouTube if you'd like. We broke down every facet of his Six Flags plan on the program. He kind of made a joke that, he's half joking, half serious. So he's like, I got to get a babysitting service because mom and dad are going to want to go into the city and get some fine dining, go check out some music, in the French Quarter, in the Warehouse District and the like, the Marigny, the Bywater, Uptown. Get a bite to eat, enjoy the city. Arnie Filko, former city councilman, former city council president, mayoral candidate a few years back, he had this idea like pre-Katrina. Field of Dreams is the company. They come in and they build baseball diamonds and playing fields, gyms, and basketball courts. He had that idea for that Six Flags site 20 years ago. Troy Henry's got that idea now. With everything involved, Troy Henry told us on this program 6 weeks ago, roughly, about a $500 million investment, about a $600 million plan for the former Six Flags site over several phases. Let's hope that's true, because New Orleans East could use a leg up. It's been on a steady, and I'm not exaggerating, 40-year decline. New Orleans East for about 20 years, 15 plus, from the late 60s throughout the entire 70s into the early 80s, had explosive growth like we've never seen in New Orleans before. It went from 0 to 60 like an electric vehicle, like a turbo Porsche. Just pin you back in the seat. Amazing growth. It mirrored New Orleans' growth. New Orleans in 1970, barely over 1 million people in the metro. By 1980, we had 1.3 million in the metro. Essentially the same number of people we have today, maybe a little less. Total stagnation, zero growth. Not to play the old record again or beat the dead horse, but Texas, fastest growing state in the country the last 40 years. The South, the fastest growing region. New Orleans and Louisiana didn't miss the boat. We missed the rocket ship that surrounds us. Mind-blowing, mind-boggling. Thank Edwin Edwards, Mark Morial, Bill Jefferson. Just over and over and over again, we feel compelled to elect these John Ilario loser types that so blatantly are out for themselves, enriching themselves, their friends, their families, and doing nothing for us. A blank resume. But we can't help ourselves. Black, white, Republican, Democrat, we embrace that crap instead of winners. Folks that can lead us to the promised land while the rest of the states that surround us took off. Yeah, we missed it. Continue to miss it to this day. Continue to miss it to this day. Forget about Atlanta, Dallas, and Houston. Look at places like Austin and Nashville, Charlotte. Explosive growth. When Norfolk, Tidewater, Virginia has a larger metro area than New Orleans, something's wrong. When Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina has a larger metro than New Orleans, something's wrong. But there's no scorecard like Saints or LSU around here. We're concerned about Saturday night in Tiger Stadium and Sunday in the Dome. But, you know, the important stuff, our kids' education, low crime, economic development, infrastructure. Asleep at the wheel, we do not care. Corey Johnson with you till 6.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets has daily lunch specials Monday through Friday, and their entire lunch menu is available too. Open 11 a.m. through 2:30 p.m. For the finest in Sicilian and Italian cuisine, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Wow, the 5 o'clock Power Hour this afternoon brought to you by a trio. All Scott Craig owned, operated, chef-driven restaurants like Katie's in Mid-City. Yep, 5 o'clock Power Hour on a Monday brought to you by Katie's, the quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant. Why aren't you at Katie's right now? You folks that live out in Old Jefferson, River Ridge, Elmwood, the Katie's of Harahan, bringing a little of that mid-city Katie's flavor to Hickory Avenue. Bienvenue. And don't forget about Francesca Deli and Pizzeria in Lakeview, Harrison Avenue, in the old Charlie's Deli location. That's in between Canal Boulevard and West End on Harrison. About 15 different specialty sandwiches to choose from or build your own. Bread, meat, dressing, cheese, extras. They got a big 10-ounce burger that's fantastic, a sloppy hot roast beef, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. And that's just not some line, hey, Corey, they serve pizza, say it's some of the best. It truly is some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison in between Canal Boulevard and West End. They deliver, by the way. Yeah, 5 o'clock powwow brought to you by Francesca Deli and Pizzeria. 5 o'clock powwow this afternoon brought to you by Bienvenue, the Katie's of Harahan. And the 5 o'clock powwow brought to you by Katie's in Mid-City, as New Orleans as it gets. Why aren't you at Katie's right now? Hey, I've got a few $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates. 5 locations now. Mandeville opened a couple of weeks ago. The Mandeville Woodhouse Day Spa is open. They opened 2 weeks ago tomorrow. Not last Tuesday, the Tuesday before. So you got 2 South Shore locations, 2 North Shore locations, and the Baton Rouge location by the Mall of Louisiana. 5, count them, 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations for you. The premier day spa experience in the area. I got 50 big bucks, $50, good at one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spas for you. Got some trivia, no cheating, no intranet device, no Google, Yahoo, DuckDuckGo, Bing, no search engines. You either know the answer or you don't. How did New Orleans get its name? How did the city of New Orleans get its name? Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480, 766-9480. We got the answer to one of the 2 Batman actors, also King of Bacchus. Michael Keaton was a Batman actor, and he was King of Bacchus. There's another Batman actor, King of Bacchus. Give me the answer to that. 50 big bucks for you at the Woodhouse Day Spa, 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480. Yeah, how did New Orleans get its name? 766-9480. You got the answer to either one of those 2 questions? I got 50 big bucks for you at the Woodhouse Day Spa, 5 area locations. Yeah, you right. You can find out more or book an appointment. Get a massage, pedicure, manicure, facial, and more. WoodhouseSpas.com. WoodhouseSpas.com. Just pick your poison. Pick one of the 5 area locations. Mid-City, New Orleans, Metairie near North Kenner, in Slidell, in Mandeville, in Baton Rouge by the Mall of Louisiana. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson with you. Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480. An hour ago, we were visiting with LSU women's head basketball coach Kim Mulkey, the Final Four coach Kim Mulkey, joining us on the program live in the 4 o'clock hour. You can check that out right now on YouTube if you'd like. Or maybe do it after 6 p.m. when we're done. The city gets about $25 million to redevelop Lincoln Beach, floating bonds to get $24.6 million to redevelop Lincoln Beach. Lincoln Beach has been abandoned for 58 years. There's just something painfully wrong, just sinful behavior. Talk about lack of leadership out in the East. Just terrible. For 58 years, Lincoln Beach has been abandoned in the East out on Hain Boulevard. 58 years, nearly 6 decades. That's just mind-blowing. Pontchartrain Beach, 40 years. It's been abandoned. 40 years. I don't get it. I mean, other cities, they dig lakes and rivers and bayous and streams, man-made, to enhance their downtown, their city, to bring tourists in, to bring people to the man-made BS waterfront. We've got the waterfront, and we work against it. We ignore it. We run from it. It doesn't make any sense. Talk about lack of leadership. Lincoln Beach, nearly 60 years abandoned. Pontchartrain Beach, 40 years, generation after generation after generation. Just don't get it. Just broken thinking, no leadership, just sad and pathetic, especially when other cities would cut off their arm to have it. 3 kids, 3 adults killed. I said by a 28-year-old female at a Tennessee elementary school. It's actually a trans female. So a man that transgendered over to female, 28 years old, a former student at that elementary school. Came in with 2 assault rifles and a handgun. Just a shame. Another mass shooting. More than a shame, obviously. Another mass shooting in the United States. Baton Rouge police helicopter crashes. 2 police officers killed. Apparently, the back rotor hit a tree, and the helicopter dropped out of the sky. 2 Baton Rouge police helicopter. 2 Baton Rouge police helicopter pilots, 2 policemen from Baton Rouge, killed. Keep their family, friends, the Baton Rouge police force in your thoughts and prayers. Speaking of police, the sheriff's department in New Orleans, Sheriff Susan Hutson, reportedly tells 4 higher-ups, resign by today or get fired. One of them, her pal, her former roommate, her friend. The number 2 in charge, Kristen Morales, who, by the way, was fired by the Office of Inspector General for theft. She gets fired. Susan Hutson hires her. The sheriff's office in New Orleans under Susan Hutson is the island of misfit toys. The juvenile justice director who resigned under fire was going to get fired by Mayor Cantrell. Susan Hutson hires him. This disbarred attorney can't practice law, breaking the rules at least, if not worse, disbarred for a year in Louisiana. Susan Hutson hires him to be her communications director, a disbarred attorney. The disbarred attorney's mother worked at the sheriff's office making $180,000 a year of taxpayer money. And what she did, no one knows, including Susan Hutson. Assistant Sheriff Perlina Thomas also asked to resign or be fired. CFO David Trottenberg also asked to resign or be fired by today. And legal counsel Graham Bosworth. And from what I understand, you can reverse his name and call him Bosworth Graham. His child is Graham Bosworth III. And no, you're not welcome at his club. He'll blackball you. You're not his type of people. Call him Graham Bosworth or call him Bosworth Graham. The name's reversible. Wow. Graham Bosworth. I'm Graham Bosworth III and you're not. Yes, you can call me Bosworth Graham. I'm Bosworth Graham Jr. My father was Bosworth Graham. That poor guy out there is going, Jesus, dude, what did I do to you? Nothing. Just playing with your name, making fun. Hey, television audience, we'll see you mañana straight up 4 o'clock. That's right, live on radio, live on TV. TV 4 to 5:30. Radio, oh so fine, 93.9 FM. We roll till 6. KaareTalks.com, live streaming. We roll till 6. Corey Johnson, The Neutral Ground, live on YouTube. You guessed it, we roll till 6 p.m. 2 big hours, 4 to 6 p.m. weekdays. 90 minutes of fun statewide on television. Yeah, you right. 5 o'clock power hour. We're in the middle of it right now. Yeah, like I mentioned about 45 minutes ago, LSU women's head basketball coach Kim Mulkey joined us live on the program. Took a little time away from family and some crawfish to join us live to talk about her team, the Lady Tigers, who are top 4 in America. They'll play Friday night. If they win, they play for the national championship. They'll take on the winner of tonight's Ohio State-Virginia Tech game. If Kim Mulkey and the LSU Lady Tigers can pull off the win Friday, they'll play for the national title, most likely against South Carolina, the Gamecocks of the SEC. Dawn Staley, Kim Mulkey, ESPN and the country would like nothing more. Hyper competitors. Those two ladies know how to win. Period. End of story. And Kim Mulkey, way ahead of the curve. Just an amazing job. She takes over a program last season that the prior season, they won 9 games. 9 games. Since then, LSU is 58-8 under Kim Mulkey. 9 games 2 seasons ago, 58-8 since then. 58-8. Kim Mulkey is a winner extraordinaire. Baylor was in the top 25 for 20-plus years. Mulkey leaves Baylor. Within 15 months, they fall out of the top 25 for the first time in 2+ decades. No, she's just a hyper winner, hyper competitor. I said it last hour. I'll say it again. Nick Saban and Bill Belichick, they're not as competitive as Kim Mulkey and Dawn Staley at South Carolina. Corey Johnson with you. Yeah, the Lady Tigers making the Final Four in Dallas, beating Miami 54-42. Next game, Friday night at 6 o'clock versus Ohio State or Virginia Tech. Wow. Kim Mulkey takes over a team that has 9 wins and goes 58-8 the last 2 seasons. Last year in year 1, taking over a team that had 9 wins. They make the NCAA tournament, make the second round of the tournament. Runner-ups to South Carolina in the SEC. Did I say winner? Speaking of, the Pels are trying to get there. They're 500 on the dot right now with 8 games to go. 37-37. And they're the 8th seed in the West. Just a half game from the 7th seed. 1 game back from the 6th seed, which would mean they would not have to play in that play-in game to make the NBA playoffs. They're just 1.5 from the 5 seed, 2 games back from the 4 seed. But they're also 1.5 games from the 11 seed and out of the play-in. So the next 8 games to go, extremely vital for the Pels. I believe 4 at least, if not 5 of the final 8, it might be 5 of the final 8, are at home at the Smoothie King Center, 4 in a row or 5 in a row, something like that. Portland, by the way, 32-42. The Pels are favored on the road tonight by like 10, 11. It's a 9 o'clock start. Pels at Portland. Pels are on like a 4-game win streak, 5-game win streak maybe? I think 5-game. And they just beat the Clippers, which was a nice win. Hey, Young's Dry Cleaning, the city's premier dry cleaner. Look, if you have a dry cleaner you've been going to for years and you're happy with them, I guess stick with them. But if you'd like to experience the best dry cleaner, or you're just looking for the best dry cleaner, it's Young's Dry Cleaning since 1940. 83 years of excellence, a New Orleans institution. Walk-up locations with personal service, free pickup and delivery, home or office, East Bank or West Bank, and their manless locker locations known as Young's Express. No one else has that. Dozens and dozens and dozens of manless locker locations throughout the metro area. Probably a Young's Express manless locker location right under your nose. You may not have even known it. Right where you live, right where you work. You drop off your dirty stuff in a safe, secure Young's Express locker. 2 short days later, go back to that locker and pick up your stuff all perfectly dry cleaned. The future of dry cleaning with Young's Express and their manless locker locations. To find out more, go online, youngsdrycleaning.com, youngsdrycleaning.com. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday afternoon. Yeah, a lot to talk about. Another mass shooting outside of Nashville, an elementary school. 3 kids, 3 adults killed by a trans female. I mean, it's irrelevant. A human being went in with 2 assault weapons and a pistol, reportedly. Thank God police were nearby. Could have been worse than 3 kids and 3 adults killed. Police went in and shot and killed her. This transgender female, 28 years old, a former student at that elementary school. Just a sad story. Hey, they cranked things up about 35 minutes ago at the Franklin Avenue Baptist Church. That's on the I-10 service road in the east. An incredible new building, a few years old, about $42 million of church. The foyer that surrounds the church is bigger than about 90% of churches in Metro New Orleans. And the church is like a mini arena, seats thousands. But that's fitting because the Franklin Avenue Baptist Church, their congregation might be the largest in the city. Literally thousands and thousands and thousands in that congregation. Their church is pretty brand new, a few years old, totally state-of-the-art, ridiculously impressive. I've been inside of it. They started at 5. They'll go till 8 p.m. tonight. It's Troy Henry and his crew, the winning bidders of that Six Flags site, showing everybody in the community what they plan to do at that Six Flags site. I'll probably be out there around 7 p.m. tonight checking it out. Although about 6 weeks ago, Troy Henry joined us on this very program for about 45 minutes, breaking down that plan like it's nobody's business. You can check that out on YouTube if you'd like, from about 6 weeks ago. We literally went off for almost an hour breaking down each and every aspect. Essentially what Troy Henry's doing is what Arnie Filko proposed for that site 20 years ago. Sort of an AAU facility for families and their kids. Right now, families and their kids load up the minivan, the SUV, and they beeline to like Austin, Texas, Houston, Dallas, Atlanta, Hoover, Alabama, outside of Birmingham, even Baton Rouge, and go to these weekend AAU tournaments, spend a couple of nights in hotels, spend money at restaurants, shopping and the like. The kids play sports all day long. Troy Henry's got a pretty good plan. Multiple fields for football, baseball, lacrosse, soccer, gymnasiums for tennis and basketball, indoor. And then when the kids are done for the day, stuff to do at night. Hotels on site, but like an arcade for the kids, an indoor and outdoor water park for the kids so they can do that year round. You can go out to the Franklin Avenue Baptist Church. What is that? I-10 service road at Bundy. in between Crowder and Reed, I believe. And check out the plan. Troy Henry and his crew want public input, what you like, what you don't like, what you'd like to see. So they're doing the right thing. They're letting the public, they're letting the residents of the East and the city, the metro area, go out there and check it all out. Like I said, the doors opened at about 5. They'll go till 8 p.m. I'll see you out there about 7 if you plan on heading out there. Boy, when the weather's like this, Lebanon's Cafe on Carrollton at Jeanette, some of the city's finest Middle Eastern food. Lebanon's Cafe, tabbouleh, baba ganoush, hummus, mujedra, all your favorite Middle Eastern sides. Some of the city's best shish kebab, shrimp, beef, chicken, lamb chops, seasoned, marinated, overnight, grilled to perfection, outdoor dining, to-go orders, or eat inside their climate-controlled dining room. It's Lebanon's Cafe by the streetcar barn on Carrollton, where it's one lane in between Claiborne's and the river bend, right by the, Carrollton and Jeppin by the streetcar barn, the big green awning under the oak trees on the streetcar line. You can't miss it. They're open till 9:30 tonight. Lebanon's Cafe for dinner.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store, and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" He said, "Well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place." So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Here's New Orleans native son, Corey Johnson.
New Orleans City Councilman Freddie King joins us.
So I want to first say thanks for having me. And believe it or not, man, I used to listen to your show all the time driving home. So it's an honor to be on.
Freddie, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you on the program. Thanks.
The official afternoon talk show of the city of New Orleans. It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground, where New Orleans is heard.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, Helm Paint. Supply.
Which Metro New Orleans area restaurant made CNN's top 50 in America and ThrillList.com's top 25 and has served presidents at the White House for over 40 years? Trey Yen in Mandeville.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Come on down to New Orleans' own Bourbon Street, the toilet of the Crescent City. Literally. Need to urinate? Pee right on one of the historic buildings. Need to vomit? It's okay. Throw up right in the street. Bourbon Street. Prostitution, drugs, strip joints, daiquiri shops, and trinket stores. The toilet of the Crescent City. Come on down. It's Bourbon Street.
This is what Drew Brees thinks about Super Discount Store in Chalmette. Actually, Brees doesn't think at all about Super Discount Store, but they do have the lowest prices allowed by Louisiana law for beer, alcohol, and wine. Super Discount Store in Chalmette. Super Discount Store!
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
Yeah, you right. LSU women's head basketball coach Kim Mulkey joined us in the 4 o'clock hour around 4:20. You can check that out on YouTube, Anchor, iTunes, Spotify. Took a little time away from family, and I'd say took time away from eating crawfish, but I'm telling you, towards the tail end of that interview, I heard her smacking on some crawfish. Someone must have been peeling them for her, or she was peeling them and eating herself. Maybe had the phone on speaker. Speaking of crawfish, Rouse's Markets has your crawfish right now. You want to eat some crawfish hot from the pot? I mean, steaming hot crawfish, seasoned perfectly. This is Rouse's Market, home of Thibodeau folks, South Louisiana, New Orleans folks. They know what they're doing. Just like during Mardi Gras and king cake season, those excellent king cakes you can put up against any bakery level king cake because they're baking them in the store each and every day with that 50, 60-year-old recipe, that cinnamon dough that's fantastic. Same thing with their crawfish. They know how to boil crawfish. This isn't some out-of-town, out-of-state grocery winging it. It's the Rouse's family. They know how to boil crawfish. Hot from the pot all day long. You can go there and eat lunch, dinner. Take them home. Hot from the pot crawfish at Rouse's. Now, you folks are like, Corey, I like boiling them myself. Get them live by the sack at each and every Rouse's location. That's right. Live crawfish by the sack for you to take home and boil them yourself. Or get them hot from the pot all day long, ready to eat. Best quality, best price, best selection. It truly does taste like home. It's crawfish season. Rouse's Markets has you covered. Tough to beat Rouse's. It really is. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday afternoon. Yeah, you right. Thanks so much for joining us on this Monday. Like I said, Kim Mulkey joined us last hour. The Lady Tigers, it's unbelievable what she has done. 9 wins a couple of seasons ago. They're 58-8 the last 2 years. They make it into the second round of the NCAA tournament last year. They're in the Final Four this year. They'll play Friday against the Ohio State Virginia Tech winner. They win on Friday. Most likely they play South Carolina for the national championship. Dawn Staley's crew, the defending national champs. It could be an all-SEC national title game. Kim Mulkey, what a competitor. What a coach. What a winner. Takes over a 9-win team, and they go 58-8 since then. My God. And Baylor, in the top 25 for 2+ decades while Mulkey was there. 21 years straight in the top 25. 15 months after she leaves, they're out of the top 25 for the first time in 21 years. That says it all, huh? LSU ascends, Baylor descends, all because of one person, head coach Kim Mulkey. And yes, I asked her about the pink coat she wore in the Sweet 16 game. Was it alive or did it have batteries? A tragedy in Nashville, Tennessee. 3 children, 3 kids, 3 adults killed by a female former student, a 28-year-old trans female. She came in with 2 assault-type weapons and a handgun at this elementary school that she once attended. And police, thank God, were nearby. They went in and gunned her down, shot and killed her. Eliminated that threat. 3 kids, 3 adults killed. Another mass shooting in the United States. Just sad. Speaking of sad, keep the Baton Rouge Police Department in your thoughts and prayers. 2 Baton Rouge policemen killed, piloting their helicopter. The tail rotor hit a tree. The helicopter crashed in a field. Both police officers killed in that crash. That's sad. Speaking of law enforcement, Sheriff Susan Hutson reportedly tells 4 higher-ups, including her former roommate, one of her pals, who was once with the Office of Inspector General in New Orleans until Ed Michel had to fire her for theft. Susan Hutson comes along. Susan Hutson runs the Sheriff's Department, a.k.a. the Island of Misfit Toys. Her former roommate, number 2, Kristen Morales, the one fired by the IG, Hutson and her must have had a falling out. Resign by today or be fired. Also, Assistant Sheriff Perlina Thomas, CFO David Trottenberg, and Legal Counsel Graham Bosworth. Resign or be fired. I believe a lot of it has to do with the hotel rooms during Mardi Gras, where $20,000 of taxpayer money was spent so these higher-ups could stay in hotel rooms that really, I'm sure the Sheriff's Department got a good price too. The hotel operators would have probably preferred getting tourists in there where they could charge a premium. But still, $20,000 just wasted taxpayer money. But like I said, the Island of Misfit Toys, Hudson's got a history of this. A disbarred attorney, can't practice law for a year. Susan Hutson hires him as communications director. His mother made $180,000 a year doing what? Even Susan Hutson doesn't know. Doing nothing, earning $180,000. The juvenile justice director, who was about to be fired by LaToya Cantrell of all people. You really got to screw up for LaToya the Destroyer to fire you. He resigns in the nick of time right before the letter coming from the mayor arrives. Susan Hutson hires him. Telling you, hey, if you're dysfunctional, if you're a thief, if you're disbarred, if you want to come here and do nothing and earn $180,000, I've got a job for you. I'm Susan Hutson, Sheriff, City of New Orleans. Just mind-blowing. Unbelievable. The city gets almost $25 million in a bond sale to redevelop Lincoln Beach, almost 60 years after it closed. What's wrong with the city of New Orleans? 60 years, Lincoln Beach closed. Pontchartrain Beach has been closed for 40. You remember like a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, we're going to redevelop Pontchartrain Beach. All the designs, the plans. There's not been a shovel in the dirt, or should I say a shovel in the sand on that. Mind-blowing. Speaking of the East, going on right now till 8 p.m., the Franklin Avenue Baptist Church, which is no longer on Franklin Avenue, it's on the I-10 service road at Bundy, essentially in between Crowder and Reed, from now until 8 p.m., Troy Henry, the winning bidder of the Six Flags site is going to have everything displayed for you on easels, renderings, drawings of what they plan to do out there, video, and he wants your participation, you New Orleans East residents, folks that live in New Orleans in general, the metro area. Troy Henry and his development crew want your input. That's the whole point of this meeting, to get the public's input on his plans and your desires for the Six Flags site, I-10 at I-510 in New Orleans East. Hey, in Uptown New Orleans, the Carrollton section of Uptown right next to the River Bend, Maple Street in between Broadway and Carrollton, you'll find Friend and Company Fine Jewelers. They've been at it 50 years. Ken Friend's been at it for over 40. Like he says, you do have a friend in the jewelry business. And today, the jewelry business can be pretty dicey. Friend and Company Fine Jewelers does it right. Real diamonds, natural diamonds, 1 billion years old. So many of these so-called diamond stores are peddling 3-week-old, man-made diamond, lab-created diamonds, flooding the market. Besides not being real natural diamonds, they depreciate in value greatly. It's a big moneymaker for these so-called diamond stores, but Ken Friend and Friend and Company Fine Jewelers will have nothing to do with that. They go with the real deal, real diamonds, natural diamonds. Like I said, with 1 billion years old, something special, something that appreciates in value. It's a lifetime purchase for her, the most important person in your life. Make it Friend and Company Fine Jewelers on Maple Street.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
At Helm Paint, we go the extra mile with free delivery anywhere in the metro area. In the middle of a job and short on paint? Call us and we'll come to you.
Short on time? Call in your order and pick it up in the drive-thru at our Earhart Boulevard location.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Hi, everyone. It's Tommy Wrong for AsbestosMoneyGrab.com. This is not, I repeat, not for folks with real asbestos problems. But if you're like me and were maybe taking a shop class in high school where you maybe breathed in some brake dust and you know for certain you're fine, but you're the type of person that takes advantage of these types of situations, get tested, lawyer up, and steal some money like me. Go to I'm not really hurt at all, but like exploiting the system for free cash.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Interlocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Interlocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Interlocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
If you love Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City, you're going to love Bienvenue in Harahan. The same folks bringing a little of that New Orleans flavor to Hickory Avenue. If you love Katie's, come to Bienvenue on Hickory Avenue in Harahan.
Every day on radio, on television, live streaming, KaareTalks.com. We're on YouTube right now. Every weekday afternoon, 4 to 6 o'clock, we broadcast live from the Buddy Deliberto River Cities Total Maintenance Studios. Honest air conditioning and heating experts that come immediately. That's all you need to know. You can have funny little sayings, fixed right or it's free. I love that one. Oh, fixed right or it's free. You mean, so if you don't fix it right, I don't have to pay for it? Hey, Jason, you brought your car in for a new transmission. We didn't do the work and we're not charging you. Oh, fantastic. Thanks. Honest air conditioning and heating experts. They'll diagnose it right away, and they'll come immediately and fix it right away. No funny business, quick diagnosis, fixed immediately. Because Lucas gets it. If your AC or heat is out, you're inconvenienced. What's that, Blue Boy? You love River City's Total Maintenance, keeping you cool in the summer, warm in the winter. You're right, buddy. Every day we broadcast live from the Buddy Deliberto River City's Total Maintenance Studios, like today and like tomorrow when we see you, straight up 4 p.m. Be there.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, Breitling time, 6 p.m.